Hi, everybody. So, Kirstielilith and I wanted to get together and share with you some information that we've been receiving on what is going on planetary wise with the whales and the bees and what is really shifting in our world. So, I want to introduce Kirstielilith, and she is a divine channel and an animal communicator. She's absolutely fabulous. If you're looking for somebody to help you with your animals, she's been a lifesaver for me quite a few times. So, Kirstie, please tell us your story about how you met Nagua.
Thanks, Jenny, and thanks for that lovely introduction. Yes, yeah, my life took on a different path, I think, in 2021, when I had been working very much with domesticated animals up to then. And then all of a sudden, all these wild animals started coming in and started coming in energetically to me, wanting to talk, wanting healing, uh, and just a whole mix of things. And then one day, a whale showed up, a massive humpback whale in my room, which was phenomenal. But what he did, and what I will never forget, is that he showed me the planet, and then he showed me and him at the top, and then he connected me with all of these groups of whales
Mm.
all around the world. And all I could hear was their different songs, and how it was connected, and I just cried and cried. And well, that was just such an amazing opportunity and a privilege to be given that. And then, just as his parting words were, come find me, we need to swim together. So, no challenge, no,
No
just a
challenge
small
at
thing.
all.
Yes, just I did queer. I was like, you want me to find you one whale in an entire planet, ocean of whales? And he was like, yep. So I'm up for a challenge, and I reached out to a couple of contacts in the States, as it was, and I did. I managed to find the person that I was meant to be going with, and it was in Moorea, which is French Polynesia, just off from Tahiti. And I booked on there for 2022 to go swim with him. But from 21 to towards the back end of 22, me and Nagwa were working constantly together. He had me working with the water in a really big way. And I know that you work a lot with the water,
Mhm.
Jenny, in that transference of energy, that what my lot call cross pollination, of, from one water supply to another,
Yeah.
to another. And he had me working all of that year in a, well, it didn't seem very structured to me, but it seemed very structured to him of what he wanted me to do in a build up to September 22, and when I went out to Moorea to go swim with him. Um, Absolutely amazing and life changing experience. Uh, I feel a bit of an idiot when sharing my story these days because never swam in the ocean before, never swam with whales or dolphins, and I just rocked up as you do, and also suffered horrendously from seasickness. So it was 10 days on a boat, and
Oh,
realize a very, very small boat, no toilet, nothing like that. The length of it was 5 people sat next to each other because it could only fit 10 people on. Tiny, well, I thought it was a tiny boat. And I thought we would be reasonably close to the coast. No, we were right out in the middle of the Pacific. So it was really rough a lot of the time. I thought it was going to be calm, teal blue. No, that was just right by the coast. that was
ah,
inland, not where I was. It was dark. It was like something out of a perfect storm some days. And yeah, so lots of physical challenges. But the purpose of why I was there was, according to Nagwal, it was about that divine feminine and that divine masculine union. He wanted me to be in the ocean with him, with the whales, because it was about birthing that divine masculine back onto the planet. And that bit was huge. We don't know how we don't need to know how it all works and stuff like that. I get told things, I just go do it. I think that's why they like working with me. I don't ask a lot of questions. And so that was a huge adventure in itself, because I just rocked up going, oh yeah, I'm going to swim with the whales. They didn't tell me about the length of swimming I would have to be doing while in the ocean. They certainly didn't mention all the sharks that were going to be there.
You wouldn't have gone.
No, not a cat and hell's chance would I have gone. It was, oh my God, how I kept showing up and doing it. It really helped me to step into a whole new version of myself,
Mhm.
because the courage that it took me every day to get on that boat and then also to get off that boat into the ocean with the little sharks swimming past to go get to the whales. But I have to say, it was the most magnificent of experiences being in the ocean with those beautiful, beautiful creatures.
Mhm.
Having the whales just swim by you, having a baby calf like come up, and their eye just connecting with me. It was wow, so heart opening. It's just indescribable. And the whales work with humans on such a deep level. Any shit that you're not prepared to look at, don't go in the ocean with the whales, because they'll bring it all up. Because before I went, I had to go through so much releasing and letting go of stuff. Um, and I thought, my God, this is horrendous. But when I got there, I could understand why, because everybody else was falling around, having massive breakdowns around me. And I thought, I can see why you got me to do all my crap beforehand. So I was able to hold that energy and do the work that was necessary.
Yeah.
And everybody else had all their revelations and stuff while we were there.
Yeah,
Uh,
I don't think people understand that with the sacred journeys, with the trips like this where you're following spirit's lead, oftentimes the lead up to it is massive. It's particularly if you're leading the group or you're leading yourself as you did with this and you're doing that energetic work, the amount of prep that goes into it that people have to go through in order to do the planetary work, the earth work is huge,
yeah,
huge. And it is this never-ending fall into yourself where you just constantly are looking at your own bullshit, constantly. And if you miss something, don't worry, it's going to come back around and be in your face. There's no two ways about it. It's coming back up. And and I think that's one of the reasons a lot of people don't follow,
yeah.
right? They talk themselves out of it because, I mean, you could have, right? You could have said, I can't, I don't really swim.
Mm,
I don't really, how am I going to afford to get here? How am I going to do this? And you could have put up wall after wall after wall, and you didn't. But I understand why people do, because the
yeah.
minute you say yes, it's like an
It,
avalanche.
yeah. It's like a baptism of fire every single day of going through, completely spot on. As hey, to me, there's no judgment on people that don't do this stuff, because it is not easy.
Yeah,
Uh, and what they're wanting is for us to become as clear a vessel as possible.
yeah.
And that involves going through so much. And like you say, the preparation before these journeys
Mhm.
is just immense, and it's like you're on a roller coaster and you just can't stop.
Yeah.
It's like you've signed up and it's just going with it. And yeah, it's not easy, but it's a lot of us have signed up to do this stuff.
We have. And there's so many people across the planet. And I
Yeah,
find that really, really exciting. Like when you really tap into the grid of, we can call them light workers, but I don't know if that's a exacting enough description.
yeah,
But the ones that are holding the nodal points and working the grid lines and really doing the energy, and there's more and more and more. It's multiplying. It's absolutely beautiful. And it's exciting. It's exciting because you can feel the changes.
it is. It's amazing. I mean, I wouldn't change my path for the world.
Yeah.
it is a phenomenal life. But I sometimes think my soul, a little bit crazy, a little bit of a Fruit Loop.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, it's just the calls come in and they're often so loud.
Yeah,
There's not really an option because to say no to the call is to say no to you.
yeah.
And I'm no longer willing to do that.
No, I think I feel it in my stomach, and it's like that there's no kind of choice.
Yeah.
Uh, and there's just this drive that keeps me going. I mean, I will be scheduling a board meeting with my soul and my higher self when I am back up there, and we will be discussing this.
We're going to be talking about this.
Yes, at the moment, we've just put a pin in it.
There will be conversations. Yeah, and it's funny because I'm always like, I'm like, I guarantee you the number one conversation of so many people on this planet is going to be like, why wasn't there the money ease, right? Like, where
Mm,
the money to do all this? Instead, I'm rearranging my whole life to make sure that I can afford to go do these
yeah.
things, right? So that's, yeah, we're going to have that conversation.
Yes, exactly. Because it's not easy with the whole financial stuff, let alone all the bravery and the courage and goodness knows what. But it is, it turns your
And the
whole life
inner
around.
work,
Yes,
right?
it
Like
is.
it's a lot.
The amount of times I'm on my knees, tears and snot running down everywhere. And I'm like, oh my God, again. I think it was only just earlier this week. It was just another thing that had to
Mhm.
kind of let go, just break through.
Yeah.
And yeah, not easy, this path.
No, it's not. And honestly, that space of hitting your knees, it's an important spot. It's that full surrender spot. And
Mm,
it's just the I don't care what happens, just help me.
yeah.
Help me through this. Help me past my own crap. Right? Because that's generally my prayer. Can it please help me get the hell out of my own way? Please. So you did that in 22, and then something happened recently.
Yeah, so Nagwal has been a constant in my life. He kind of turns up, I'd say, most weeks, but it's to offer advice of kind of what's going on. So we still have that contact, which is great. But then a client of mine who I actually met in Maria, and she's been working with me ever since. And she was going to Tonga and swimming with the humpback whales. And she's been there. This will be a fourth trip that she's gone. And a lot of the time now, when she's on her travels, we'll have what I call on location sessions. So she booked a session with me when she was actually in Tonga. And she was so excited. She was like, I think I've met Nagwal because he is from Tonga. That was where he was born. And I know they migrate down
Mhm.
to Antarctica and that, but Tonga's his original kind of hunting ground that he goes. And when she described it, I had Nagwal come straight in and going, yes, that was me, that was me. And then she said that when they were in the water, he was singing. Didn't know he could sing. He never shared that with me before, but apparently he's a singer. And she had a GoPro and was able to record it. And she said it was amazing, absolutely incredible. And so I just said to her, "Would you be able to send it to me?" But she was still in Tonga, and then with time, time just passed, and I forgot about it. And then we had a session, I think, a week or so later when she'd returned back to the States, and so that was, I think it was last Monday. But time gets a little bit confusing for me these days. But we had a session. She was back in the States, and I had to say, "Oh, yeah, can you send me that recording of Nagwal singing?" And so she did because she'd forgotten about that. But then he came into the session and shared such incredible information because she was saying, when I was in the water, it was like there was an echo because I could hear him singing, and then there was the identical song as a complete echo. She said, I don't understand what was going on. And he was able to explain that it wasn't an echo. And this doesn't happen, as in whales do not sing the identical song. They have their own little song going on, even if they're all humpbacks. Uh, and he said that he was singing because he is the master communicator of whales, that he's the chief, the boss of the whales, and that's why he works with me. So he started that song, and then he said it was like a chain reaction, that there was whales then connected all around the planet singing the same song at the same time, which was, I mean, I just had massive goosebumps when he was sharing this. And it was connected with 3iAtlas, with that interstellar consciousness that's in our atmosphere at the moment. And it was to do with kind of like flipping the paradigm. And he just said about the Hermetic teachings of as above, so below, is like as below, so above. It's that kind
Mhm.
of complete shift and change to allow our consciousness to be able to rise to where it needs to be and to be impacted by this stellar consciousness in the way that we need to. So I was blown away by it, and I've got very clearly told by Nagwal I could only send the recording to specific people, and there was only three, and obviously you, Jenny, were one of them that it needed to be sent to. So, see, I messaged you straight away, and I know then you got a lot more information coming in
Yeah.
from the whales about what it was all about.
Yeah. I mean, it was like instantaneous. As soon I hadn't even listened to the recording. I was just listening to your message. And it was like boom, right through me. And I was like, oh, holy cow. And I literally could see it. I could see it spanning the globe. I could see, whales connecting, singing this particular song. And it's this beacon, right? It's this cosmic key that has now been turned on. Um, and and then you sent me the recording. I listened to it, and at first I'm like, oh, this is really pretty. And then I can't tell you why, but I hit a space in the recording and it was sobbing, like
Mm,
ugly
lovely.
crying,
Yeah,
just, and I don't, no idea why. Um, but I knew it, there was a space of grief. I will say that. Like it was this space of like, oh, we're here. And not in a bad we're here. Almost like, hmm, almost like this space of like, okay, it's really that shit or get off the pot time, right? Which we know. We've been saying this for years, but it's like, it's now. It's now. It's like, everything is working towards planetary ascension.
mm,
And with the hope that as many people as possible, like if someone wants to, that they can move forward, right? And whatever move forward looks like, we're not going to predetermine that. It's more of a vibrational moving forward type of thing. And it's
yeah,
to me, it's a freedom. It's a letting go. It's more an unlayering than it is even of a becoming now. It's like you already are. So now
yeah,
let's get rid of all the crap that's in the way that keeps you from really remembering who you are and walking it. Um, so it was really interesting understanding because the image that they kept giving me was the atlas. So the 3iAtlas, it's seeds. Okay, so it brings in energies and elements. It is containing a lot of nickel that is turning on this next phase. And to me, it feels very much like the greater connection between the etheric and physical. That's what it feels like, whether it's within my body or out in nature. It doesn't really matter. It's just now there's this merging, like the separation between selves is ending. And what it looked like the whales were doing was with that sound, which we know sound creates everything, right? Was creating something. Um, so it was absolutely fascinating. And then I did a group healing 2 days ago. And there's a particular chamber where I go in and I work. And I noticed in the chamber there were whales swimming. And I was like, oh. And then I saw bees. And I was like, huh, why is there bees? And bees are this sign of the goddess. And so when we do know that the whales are often the record keepers of the planet, like they hold that unadulterated memory, the one that hasn't been, messed with. And it's more of that purity. It's a very pure, pure stream that they hold. And so bees, I mean, we know what bees do. I mean, not only do bees make sure that we have food, but they really can heal us through their vibration. I have a teacher who has a bee hut, and you can go in and meditate, and you can be amongst the vibration of the beating of the wings. And it's phenomenal. I had to have courage to do that because I'm allergic to bees. And so it was that was one of those moments, like yours was on a boat and mine's in a bee house. And I'm like, here's
We
my
do.
EpiPen, just in case. But it was a really beautiful experience with them to be in that frequency and to allow it to open and heal. So if we look at what the whales do with their song and their sound, and that's within the water, when you look at what the bees do, they're also doing it, but it's on this micro level. So I started, asking about some information. And in this healing, I was really working with Archangel Raziel, who's one of my favorites because he just embodies that cosmic intelligence. And so he was talking to me, and it was like the tones that the whales are doing are moving through the ocean grids and they're restoring coherence. There's been a lot of breaks. There's been a lot of, the further we went down into density, the more there were breaks in the grids, more there was, I don't know, almost like just absolute disconnection. Like the further we went into separation, the further we separated.
Mm.
And so each song that they're doing acts as this stabilizing signal, and it's aligning the magnetic and the crystalline layers of Earth. And so they're reestablishing communication between the ocean grids, the tectonic plates, and the crystalline core. And with that, the crystalline pyramids, which I've been working with for years. And so it's interesting because, I'm heading to Belize soon, and I'm going to be working with them again. And like, I kind of laugh at the timing, right? Like, I'm like, there's no way I could do all this. I'm not, there's just no way. And so to look at this timing and go, okay, I got it. Going back to work with these pyramids. So then there were, what was being shown and said is the work with the 3iAtlas, because the 3iAtlas is a cosmic signal. Like we hear about in the religious circles, there's Gabriel's trumpet, right? In the Mayan cultures or the Hopi culture, it's the kachingas. You're going to see the red and the blue kachingas. Well, Atlas turned blue. And Atlas had a little bit of red on him. There's there's definite symbols that are being shown to us that are hitting multiple cultures right now, and that's really, really exciting. So the signal from the 3iAtlas, right? So it's this cosmic signal, it's linking into the planetary body to help hold the higher harmonic fields. And this is important because that's what had gotten broken, right? Like it wasn't the 3D lower grid that had broken, it was the higher ones that broke when we went lower. So these are now being reestablished through sound. And so then I was like, okay, well, what about these bees? And so then what they showed me was that they are literally mirroring the same function. And I'm like, it was so fascinating to me to understand the orchestration of this event. It truly is all hands on deck. It is all species, and it is just the coolest thing. And so there's like this golden lattice. That's how I describe it. And it like carries coherence. It carries a signal through the air, the soil, and the mycelium networks. So it's like the whales are restoring the signal in the water, and the bees are bringing balance back through this current, this electromagnetic current, and it moves across the surface. So any of the tears in the energetic web that connects plant, mineral, human life, everything, that's what's being fixed. And the more that the higher grid becomes sustainable, the more we can anchor into it. And it's not always a one-to-one thing. It can be moments, right? It's like, okay, and here I anchor into the higher grid. There's still parts of me in that lower grid, and I'm working on cleaning that up. And then now this is a stable foundation, a stable place for me to be. And so it's big news. It's big news. And so it's like the whales are doing this large scale and they're reconnecting deep grid work, right? And we know we've been told before that there are land masses that will rise through the water. There are land masses that will go back under the water. And it's a cycle. The earth has done this before. And so it's interesting because what they were showing me was helping to maintain, I guess the word I would have is coherence in that chaos. Because as masses rise and masses sink, it feels very chaotic. But the way that it's being described to me is on one hand, yes, it's going to look like chaos. And on the other hand, it's not. It'll be done at the perfect timing. There will be the supports for the earth, supports for the people that are shifting and moving forward. Um, so yeah, so that was my experience with the whales and the bees 2 days ago. And so Kirstie and I decided to get together and talk about this because this isn't small.
Mm.
And, you know, I've had a Lyran being come in and he says to me, he's like, if you understood how sacred this time is, because you wouldn't be worried about those things. He'd say you would be so enamored with what is taking place, whether it's planetary, whether it's within the human. I mean, people are making huge leaps,
Yeah.
huge leaps right now. And the hard part is we can't always see it, right? Like if my daughter says, "Does it look like my face is thinner?" And I'm like, "I see you hours every single day. I can't tell." But somebody else who may not have seen her, for 3 months or something is all of a sudden like, "Oh, wow, I can't tell." And the same thing happens when we're doing our inner growth. We don't always see the movement, but
Mm.
the movement is here. It's here. And, when we look at this cosmic key that is Atlas, it's turning on a switch. And for me, the way I describe it is it's turning on that switch for a caterpillar, then becomes the goop, right? And it's more of like, I think we're already goop. 'Cause I know I definitely feel like goop, but it's that switch to that the goop is no longer a liquid and it starts to reform. The cells begin
Mm.
to reform and change and turn into a butterfly.
Mm.
That's the space. And Atlas is the catalyst.
Yeah.
And so when you look at the bees, the whales, and I'm sure there's other species too, they're planetary weavers. And they're really helping to create this incredible higher harmonic grid for us.
Yeah, and the timing of it is no coincidence, as it never is.
Yeah.
The fact that we're in this space with Atlas, with the whales of what they're doing, as we're now into November, and then obviously it's the 11/11 portal next week,
Hmm.
and that is then the countdown to the winter solstice.
Yeah.
And the winter solstice portal is going to be the massive that it's ever been, the most intense,
Yes.
and that's then going to shift us into what next year is going to bring,
Yeah.
which I feel, and I think you feel the same, is going to be huge, whatever's coming in.
Yeah. I mean, briefly before I hit record, we were talking about the numerology. We're in a 9 year now. We're going into a one. That's new beginnings.
Mm.
So, and really it is how much of a new beginning is dependent on how much we can let go. And, one thing they were showing me over the weekend was that every time we judge someone else, ourself, it's like a bar we're putting on our heart energy. It's
Mm.
like we're creating the cages with our judgments, with our belief systems that are judgments in disguise, right? And each one is limiting us. Each one is like a bar cell that we're putting in. And then we're going, I want to expand. And why am I in so much pain from the energies? My heart, it hurts because it's trying to expand. But there's a
Mm.
ton of bars around it. And so it's like looking at that and going, how many bars am I holding? Where am I holding myself back? Where am I judging another? Where have I, created these belief systems that they don't serve? They
Mm.
don't serve.
Yeah, that judgment is huge, that piece,
Hmm.
because it's judgment of yourself as much as of others. And
Yeah.
that's been a big theme for me this year, looking at where I'm, my words, where I'm still being a judgy bitch. um, and it's huge. And like you say, it can be in disguise at times.
Yeah.
That I think, oh, I'm all enlightened and all that in that space. I'm like, oh no, I think I would probably say still a judgy bitch at that point. And it's being honest and open and looking at
Yeah.
it with those eyes, and then trying to choose a different path, trying to
Hmm.
choose a different way of looking at it, flipping and looking at it from a different perspective,
Yeah.
and recognizing that yes, we need to be discerning, but then it's about not going into judgment on it,
Yeah.
allowing people to be who they are.
Who they are. And really, I'm finding the more I love people right where they are, the more I love me.
Mm.
The parts of myself that maybe I don't want to look at, or, whatever the words are. It's like, it's interesting. It's like for everything for me, I'd say this past year in particular has been, how can I set myself free?
Yeah,
And one of the ways that has really just smacked me again and again and again is the limits I put on joy, the rules I put on joy. And I was reminded recently, I was talking to someone who said, I watched the World Series. I haven't watched, baseball in years because baseball's not spiritual. And he had the best night watching the World Series. And it really reminded me of, there was one time we were at a Super Bowl party, and I'm like looking at these people going, this is ridiculous. This is barbaric. Football's barbaric. This is, why are they, and just the realization I was the lowest vibrating in the room,
mm.
right? Because I'm busy judging them as they're, hooting and hollering at the TV. And that's still not my thing. It's not my thing. But the energy that can be created when friends get together and place bets and have food and laugh and carry on is so much more high vibrational than the person who said, no, I can't do that because it's not spiritual.
Yeah,
And it really is now, there is nothing spiritual. Everything is.
yeah.
Everything. Everything is spiritual. Everything is an opportunity. And it's just this matter of, can you set yourself free?
We've created so many rules as spiritual society of what's considered spiritual, what isn't spiritual, and you have to do this, you have to have this practice, you have to do that, or else I'm not spiritual. I'm never going to be enlightened. I'm never
Right.
going to be able to ascend. And it's just, it's crap. Like you say, well, we've created this own spiritual kind of prison for ourselves. And it's recognizing that, yeah, joy doesn't have those limits. It doesn't
Doesn't.
have that, oh, you can only go in that room. You can't actually go in that room.
Yeah.
Because that room may bring you a ton load more joy than what being
Hmm.
in the other room does. But yeah, there has been a lot of self-imposing limits that we have created
Yeah.
around spirituality, of that there is just this path that you need to follow, and it isn't.
It's not.
It's
It's
there is
not.
all paths.
Well, and it's funny because, as you were talking, all of a sudden I had this image of the laughing Buddha. Buddha is laughing because, it's Buddha was able to set himself free,
Yeah,
right? Versus the one who's going, I can't do this, I can't eat that, I definitely can't look at that. And oh my God, that over there, da da, da, that space of judgment. And it's really something.
mm,
It really is. And each time we set ourselves free, it's like we nail another piece of programming. It just leaves. Because I think what we've done with spirituality is we mimicked religion.
yeah,
And it doesn't work anymore.
mm,
And there are many who they find their peace in religion.
yeah,
Go for it. Go for it. But if it's not your peace and it's not your joy, explore yourself. Take down those walls of what you think you should and shouldn't do, what you should and shouldn't like, and start exploring. What this brings me to, the full moon was a doozy.
it was.
I,
It was.
But I mean, so 2 nights before the full moon, I was outside. I was outside in this swim spa and I'm like, kind of looking at it. I wasn't totally connecting. I was just the stars around it. I mean, the skies have just been incredible recently.
Mm,
And it was so intense, I got nauseous and I was like, I'm going in. So I mean, I was like, I told my husband, I was like, I can't. I need to get out of here. I need to go and lay down. And then the next night, um, we were outside and I felt my legs swell, my feet swelled up and got really tight, like almost like they do when you're flying, like
yeah.
across the pond, right? And that's what it felt like. And I was like, what is happening? Why? I'm in the water, I'm moving. Why is this happening? And then the full moon night, I went out and it was late. It was late because I had done the healing and the healing went for a lot longer than I thought it would. And so I just needed a clear my energy type moment. And so I go out there and they're talking to me about how Earth used to be a playground. You could come and you can experience all the things that you wanted to experience, but they were the good, the yummy, the fun things, right? But then eventually people started saying, or beings started saying, all right, I've done played out all of these fantasies. Maybe I want to be an artist. Maybe I want to be this. Maybe I want to be that. Well, now what if I want to play out some of the darker things, some of the more painful things? What is it? Maybe I want to play out being murdered.
Mm,
And what they shared with me was that there was this massive agreement to kind of go down into the belly. And then we're now on the way back up. And so
yeah,
one of the things they were saying to me, because I was talking about the act of really setting yourself free while simultaneously integrating all of yourself. So, I mean, it's a thing, it's a lot because you've got stuff coming in, and then it's like looking at that one and going, I remember when I felt that way. I remember when I limited myself that way. And then just kind of saying, nope, we're not doing that. Here's what we're doing. And so, what they're saying is that this is the time to remember the playground.
mm,
And the more people that do that will hold that original frequency, And I've got whales coming in as I say this. That that original frequency, and it's going to echo out to people.
Yeah.
So the more we hold it, the more we hold that joy, and the more we remember that Earth is a playground to explore yourself and move back into the space of exploring your higher aspects instead of your lower aspects,
Hmm.
the more that this will shift.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. And yeah, totally spot on that playground analogy because it's
Mhm.
bringing in that childlike energy of just pure joy and wonder at things. And we've forgotten that for
We have,
centuries.
yeah, we have. And it's I would have said to you, I think that it is childlike. It's a childlike, playful energy. And in some ways it is, and maybe it's the purer child. But I look now at so many kids and the pressure,
Yeah,
the
yeah, they don't have that free spirit
no,
energy that is so much pressure, or it appears to me, pressure on the youngsters these days, or they're
yeah,
feeling that pressure
yeah,
of wherever it's coming from, and but they do seem to be carrying a lot.
they are. Yeah, I was talking to my daughter yesterday, and her little one just started kindergarten. And originally they were going to homeschool, and then they were like, they couldn't do it. Financially they couldn't do it. And so she's working in the school, and he's there, but he had told her, he's like, Mom, it's so much pressure. It's kindergarten. Why
Bless
is
it.
there pressure?
Yeah.
Like, your job is not to bite people.
Exactly.
Like to interact and not bite people. That's your job.
Yeah.
But now it's testing, and they're on computers all the time. And there's so much that's sucking the life out of life, right?
Mm,
And so it's interesting. So as I feel into like the planetary playground, I can't reference it as childlike.
mm. Or not today's child.
Not today's child.
Yeah.
Maybe divine child, but not
Yes.
today's child. But it feels to me like it's a space where everything is endless. Everything
Yeah.
is like it's pure possibility. It's like,
Yeah.
what do you want to do?
Yeah.
Do you want to go and explore this? Well, let's do that.
Mm,
And it just feels amazing. It feels amazing. And it's the biggest thing that they're like nailing me with right now is it's not that things necessarily change. It's your perception of things change
mm.
because you dropped the the dogma, the programming, the judgment, the religion aspect of whatever it is.
The distortion.
Thank you, perfect word. So you drop the distortion, and then all of a sudden things begin to shift because your lens and how you're seeing the world has
Yeah.
just changed.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's wild.
Been an amazing conversation.
It has.
Yeah.
I mean, I love
Thank you.
talking to you no matter what. Um, and I like talking.
You're so good at
We
it.
know. We know. So I thank you so much for taking time um, to talk to everyone today about this, because your connection with the whales is incredible. It's absolutely incredible. Um, and I think that it's going to help us understand some of the larger planetary things going on
Yeah.
that we don't necessarily understand. But I think the amazement is the coordination of the signal.
Yeah.
And I still think back to that recording and just hearing the signal echo and go,
Like
and
a
just,
pulse, wasn't
yeah.
it?
And my entire system just let down.
Mm.
And I just sobbed because
Yeah.
it's time.
Yeah. I was sobbing as well. And there was so much going on. I had just a cracking headache with the
Oh,
just the
that's right. We did
vibration of
get,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So I forgot about that. So both of us wound up getting headaches after listening to it. And I asked, I said, what is going on? They said new neural pathways were created as in some ways, I think that was part of it,
Yeah,
creating the new neural pathways. Because if we keep doing what we've been doing, if we keep thinking like we've been thinking, nothing changes. And so maybe that's what part of this is. I had forgotten about that. But I mean,
yeah,
what if the signal that's going all over the water, that the bees are also going to assist with doing that signal? And I mean, and where we are now, it's cold, but there's places where it's warm. So it
mm,
feels to me like it's going to be, right now, I think it's the southern hemisphere is warming
yeah,
up, and the bees are going to do their work there. And then we're going to warm up and it's going
yeah,
to flip. But the whales, what if all of this is to expand our neural capacity?
yeah.
Yeah,
That makes a lot of sense.
it does because we have to shift
Yeah,
or we just keep creating the new crap, right? It's like when we talk about people who are neurodivergent, it's the only way things are going to change
yeah,
is the differences and the new pathways. Yeah.
yeah, completely.
So we'll leave this at that. And Kirstie, thank you so much for being here, for talking to me today, letting everyone know uh, what's going on. And it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So thank you so much.
You are welcome. Thank you so much, Jenny, for suggesting this. It's been absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it's been really good. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. My information and Kirstie's information is down in the description. She's a phenomenal animal communicator. She's been able to communicate with one of mine that very few can communicate with. Good old
Yeah.
Copper.
Yes.
So, her information will be in the description. All right, everybody, take care.
Bye.
Bye.